Takeover. It's a takeover, ladies and gentlemen. A takeover. Look out! As you can see, I got my Martin back. I got my Martin back from the revision. I'm going to go over here. It's on the restream chat. Restream chat. Restream chat. Restream chat. Restream chat. 4 o'clock on a fiber to the prim. Get some. Get it, Paulie. I got a funny story about my internet. Oh. Hashtag user error. For those of you who have been following. Those of you who have been following my travails with the internet. So we had fiber to the prim. The prim. Fiber to the prim. Apparently that means fiber to the premises. Didn't know that. Cool. Anyway, so we got fiber optic. Someone came over, and it stopped working. It would work, and it wouldn't work. I call up. I'm furious. I just got this. Some guy takes me through the procedure. I'm downstairs. We fix it. It's all good to go. Then it keeps on going on again. He sets some different parameters inside the thing. It's working. Everything's fine and dandy. Today, we're having problems again. It's going in. It's going out. My daughter says, I go downstairs, and the thing is dark. It's got no power. I go, what do you mean there's no power? The power should at least be on that thing in the basement, that whatever the hell it is that brings the fiber to the prim. And so when I get home and she tells me this, she goes, I just went downstairs. I can get no lights on it at all. And I look, and I'm going downstairs, and I go, wait, you didn't turn the light on to the basement. So what happened was the installer from AT&T put it into a plug that was connected to the light switch to the basement. We haven't owned this house for that long. We've been here for a few years, but we haven't messed around with that particular outlet and in this kind of an environment. So apparently that outlet is dependent on the light to the basement. So every time, of course, I leave the light onto the basement on a lot. And every time my wife goes downstairs, she, damn it, and she turns off that light. Guess when the internet goes out? That's when they would turn off the light from the basement. So there you go. There you go. Little user error. Kind of a funny story, I think. Yes, the string gauge is no longer AT&T sucks. But then again, she did put it into an outlet without saying, hey, this isn't an outlet that's dependent on the basement light, is it? Hi from LA, the Mint misses you. We miss the Mint. We look forward to returning to the Mint in glory, in quasi-glory. We had a good gig there. Actually, both gigs we did at the Mint were excellent. We had a good old time. Did we not, Dylan James? Yes. And then we went and got went to a food truck afterwards. We had tacos of doom. What was the name of that taco place?
I don't know, but it was down Pico Boulevard.
It was down Pico. We went down Pico Boulevard and had some delicious tacos. John V in the house, say what? All right, so this particular National Lampoon's Quarantine, exactly. Greetings from Holland. Well, hello, Holland. Hope everything's going well over there. Hope the tulips are in bloom. Arizona, idiot error. Am I right, Jason, or am I right? That's kind of a funny story, I think. It's like, why does the internet keep on going out? Damn you, AT&T! Really, it was just a light switch issue. You know, a song we haven't done in a while is my shout out to the quarantine, and I thought of this because I've been eating poorly lately, ladies and gentlemen. I need to drop about 20 pounds, to be honest with you. And it's all because of this quarantine. Because when I'm not on quarantine, I eat reasonably well. I've weaned myself off sweets and so on and so forth, but since we're still kind of on quasi-quarantine, you know, I got all the kids home here. We got a house full, all four kids are home. You know, every day we're living it up, and next thing you know, it's just a treat fest. You know, you're having those tasty drumsticks with the the chocolate on top and the nuts and the caramely thing and the cone. Oh, delicious. We got delicious cereal. Dylan, am I right about the cereal? You know what Dylan got me for Father's Day? He got me a package of Captain Crunch pancake mix and blue crunchberry flavored syrup. Does he love me or is he trying to kill me? Either way, I'm in. Okay, I'm in like Flynn. So we're gonna do a little song I wrote about the quarantine situation. It's called "I Think I've Gained a Quaranton." For those of you who haven't heard it, you're going to hear it now. For those who have heard it, sing along and jiggle whatever you got to jiggle, which, if you're anything like me, is an abdominal ballum. Abdominal ballum, you. All right, here we go. Thank you, Mr. Quarantine, for keeping me safe from COVID-19. But when the going gets tough, the tough get hangry for something sweet or maybe a little tangy. Woo! And now I've gained a quarantine. I think I've gained a quarantine. Eating those crunch berries was a whole lot of fun. Delicious. But now I've gained a quarantine. When that double chin goes round and third, I gotta lose a quarantine. Tacos from Chilongo, pizza from East. There's nothing left to do to sit around and feast. Quarantine. I've got to lose a quarantine. When my double chin goes round and third, I've got to lose a quarantine. Look out now. Is down the street to the left, left's is down on the right. If we're feeling the need for a little bit of that takeout tonight, quarantine. I've got to lose a quarantine. When that double chin goes round and third, I've got to lose a quarantine. Rice Krispie treats are good, 7-layer bars are better. But Reese's and Snickers will reign supreme in any kind of weather. Quarantine. I got to lose a quarantine. Cause when my double chin goes round and third, I got to lose a quarantine. Lose a quarantine. Quarantine. I got to lose the doggone quarantine. When my double chin goes round and third, I got to lose a quarantine. I gotta lose a quarantine. You know what I'm saying? That's for reals. I resemble this song, says Tom. Bending strings is good exercise. This is what I delude myself with. These types of facts. How's everybody doing out there? You all right? Did you have a good week? Did you have a good week there in the world? We've had a pretty good week here. The weather has been magnifico here behind the cheddar curtain, ladies and gentlemen. And You are going to scratch that guitar on the bass drum. Am I close? Well, it's not. It's not that close. I've had this guitar for a while. I bought this guitar in 1996, I believe, and it was called a Custom 15, but that was before the HD28V had been officially part of the line. So it's basically a vintage-ish, old scallop, crappy, or not crappy, that stuff I meant. It's great. It's got a V-neck on it. It's got the herringbone. It's just a delicious guitar. I was looking for a Martin. I was always borrowing guitars for friends of mine when I would do sessions. Buddy of mine's got a really nice D35. I would borrow that. Another friend's got HD28, and I would borrow that. And then when I was in the studio, whatever would be lying around, usually a Martin, I'd grab it and use it. So I looked around for a long time and I found this guitar. I had the Fishman Matrix Infinity pickup installed in the bridge, and then I also thought it'd be cool to have a rare earth mic blend. So that's just kind of a new thing. So what I'm doing right now is I just got it installed, so we're still trying to work out all the bugs. But you're hearing right now, this is just the bridge pickup by itself. So the new Matrix Infinity VT, as it's called. Now I could turn that off and then turn this up, and this is. That is the neck pickup, or the sound hole pickup, and I can go more towards this side. That's the mic in there. As you see, it gets a little squirrely. So if I go back this way, get kind of a nice little combo. So that is the mic blend with that sound hole pickup. Now I'll put that down to about 9 o'clock-ish, and then I'm going to bring the other one up here. So now you get a blend of them. Sounds nice. Let's try that one. Let's do a little acoustic Them's the Breaks. What do you think about that? Do you prefer going through an acoustic amp live or just... I actually prefer the acoustic amp live. da-doom, ba-dam, boom, boom, ba-dick-a-doom. Can you dig it all? Little Dims to Breaks. I did a version of that on our first tape I put out in 1990, I believe it was. The tape back then was called Dims to Breaks, and that tune was on it. I did a little different version of it on a record called 4 Days in the South. And then we did a version of it with the Tone Control reunion thing that we did called Vivid Gristle. That's on there as well. Kind of fun. Does Toby cover the lowies? And Toby covers the bass line on that activity. All right. Let's do a little bit of, we haven't done this one in a while. All right. We're rocking with Dockin'. I'm going to switch to the electric at this juncture in time. What's going on out there? That's a song called...
Hard to play.
Yeah. Well, when I can't hear it, it's even more difficult. Yeah. Can you dig it? Yeah. You know what I did today for the fun of it, folks? When I picked up my acoustic guitar, I was picking it up from outside because they don't let people in the store yet, which is understandable because of COVID-19. So I was talking to Alex over there at Wade's Guitars, and I said, hey, you don't have one of those Phase 90s in there, do you? Because I've got a phaser on my my Jam pedal board, that longer thing, but I didn't want to take the whole thing out. And this particular phase I was looking for, because I've been watching, of course, I've been listening to a variety of different things using phaser. Number one, Rock and Roll Animal, Lou Reed. Am I right? Those two cats, Mr. Wagner and Mr. Hunter, were using some kind of phaser on there, right? Am I right or am I right? And then, of course, Eric Gale, singular, with Cornell Dupree in Stuff, there was some phaser going on there. And then, of course, on Physical Graffiti, and years after that, old Jim Page was using, can you say it? Was using a delicious phaser of some sort. So I bought the phaser, and he said, we should check out the Phase 95. Now, I could have just called up my buddy Brian Kehoe from Jim Dunlap and said, hey, how about setting the brother up? But I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go in for the kill. So I got this thing. I don't know if you can see it. Can we see it up there? I don't know. There it is, folks. It's a smaller mini pedal thing, and it's the Phase 95. It allows you to go between a Phase 45 and a Phase 90, and then you can either go from the script era or not. And I like the or not version because it gives it a little more of that, this kind of a... Got that goofy... I like it. It makes me feel good. See it? So it's an old Phase 90 type of a thing. Can you dig it? It's different from a Univibe. There be red near. Can you dig it? It was just fun to play that little jam. Feeling the power of the night and of the day and of the mid-afternoon. The Phase 95 mini pedal. I tell you what, it's a good sounding little rascal, isn't it? Well, get off of my back if you wanna get out of here. doggone it, straight ahead. That's a little bit of that Jim Hendrix. For those of you who aren't aware, this is my signature Gristlemaster guitar, which comes stock with my new Fishman Fluence. Well, they're new-ish. They've been out for a few years now. Yeah, walking bass drum. Right on, John Smith. I can dig it. Has my new Fishman Fluence Gristle-tone pickups. And how many straps do I own? I own many straps. Though when I'm sitting, I don't need a strap. What happens in Tosa stays in Tosa. That's right. Toaster, as I like to say it. So everything you're hearing is on the amp except for, of course, this Phase 95, which it's a groovy sounding pedal. Carl Worth, I've got no pedal board today other than I just got the Phase 95, and I have it on the 90 mode. And then I'm just using the overdrive on my signature Koch amplifier, which sounds big and bold. We do a little Mrs. Buckley with that kind of action. Am I right or am I right? Mrs. Buckley, ladies and gentlemen. That's a tune off the, what was that record? I did kind of a live in the studio, actually live in the radio it was called. And that's the name of the record, Live on the Radio. And that tune's called Mrs. Buckley. I think Pat McManus out there asked, who was Mrs. Buckley? Well, that is a good question. You know, one of the things that, as many of you know, when musicians are on the road, especially back in the days of CDs and certainly in the days of tapes, you'd have tapes that are passed around to musicians. You know, the Buddy Rich tapes of him bitching and moaning to his, being horrible to his band members. Or the William Shatner spoken word things, you'd listen to that. Or you'd listen to a little Pete and Ray, these two derelicts out in San Francisco that were being eavesdropped upon by their neighbor, and they had these caustic arguments back and forth that were horrible yet funny in a very, very dark way. Anyway, and then there was Pete and Ray, I think they were. Then, of course, all the phone calls, Al Cooper, Tuba, and all the crank call things that bit on the Simpsons was derived from. And then there were the Orson Welles bloopers tapes. And him doing a Findish commercial. We know a place in Lincolnshire where Mrs. Buckley lives. Every July, peas grow there. You really mean that? I think we're talking about peas and snow-covered fields, and anyway, he goes on this tirade and yells at the people. The right reading is the one I'm giving it. That's my favorite line. I want to say that so much. The right reading is the one I'm giving it. Orson. He had his moments. Anyway. Tuba. Lots of love for Dylan in that last tune. That's Mrs. Buckley. And that's Dylan back there on those drums. That's my son back there, by the way. A lot of people are like, are you quarantining with a young Sasquatchian drummer? It's like, no, it's my offspring. That's how that works. I have 4 children. He's the oldest of my 4 children. There you have it. Can you dig it? Is Dylan using a double bass pedal in his setup at all? Not right now. He had one years ago, but you haven't used that thing forever, right?
No, this is actually a part of a double kick drum, just with a single kick drum.
Yes. So he's not using the two hammers.
Just 1 foot.
Just 1 foot. You're 1 foot for Dylan back there.
Oh, yeah, dear bud. Oh, yeah.
Please bark or howl, says Nancy. Okay. You know what, Nancy? I'm not afraid of that kind of a challenge. I don't know what I'm saying in dog when I say that, but dogs do not like it. Actually, they either like it or they hate it. Okay? There's no like in betweens. Can you dig it? Yeah. What kind of a compressor do I prefer? Steel Rider. I don't usually use a compressor, but I've used Dynacomps here and there, and I have kind of the Jam Pedals version of what they do, a modified Dynacomp, and every now and again I will use that, and that's called the Dynasaur. See what they did there? Dynasaur. Jam Pedals, Jam from Delicious. My dog says don't be rude. Am I right? For all I can say is like, who knows what I'm saying? And I've never owned a dog. You know why? I'm extremely, extremely allergic to dogs. But however, I can speak dog. What does it mean? What does the universe mean when it says you can't have a dog, but by God, you'll talk like one? I don't know. I can't speak to it. I enjoyed your contribution to the latest 5-watt world. Well, thank you. He emailed me. I need to get back to him on that. He said, hey, thanks for letting us use it. The Wildwood guy said, hey, check out this Flying V videos. Or they wanted to use it, and they said, cool. So I'm glad it turned out. I have not yet seen it myself. Potato got it. All right, there you go. Potato. Simone's a girl that I used to know. Check out Girl on her Daddy's Stone. Could you play Chicken from Hell, please? Boy, I haven't played that song in a long time. I gotta remember. That song is a pain in the buttocks. Twisted Song. Who came up with that song? Some Jagaloon. It's almost impossible to sing and play that at the same time. Yeah, we can try it. We'll do an instrumental version. See what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4. We haven't played that song in forever, but you get the idea. That's a song called Chicken from Hell from the 4 Days in the South record. It's Twisted. Someone asked a while back, why are there only two voices on these pickups? Could there be more? Technically, yes, there could be more, but we thought, let's start with two with the Fluence pickups. We don't want to confuse the ish Functionality-wise, two. So you basically got 6 sounds altogether with this beast. That's more than some people want and or deserve. Am I right or am I right? So on down the line, will there be variations? Maybe, but certainly now having 2 voices for each pickup is a lot more than is currently available on every other model in the world. For the most part. Am I right or am I right? Or am I right? What is a tune? What was that tune inspired by Primus? No, I don't know what it was inspired by, to be honest. It was kind of a Zappa thing. And there's a funny lyric. It's called Chicken from Hell. And the lyric is, she avoided rhythm like it was foul indeed. But thanks to Wild Turkey, her feet began to feel the need. She started dancing. The chicken from, it's basically about the funky chicken from hell. She couldn't dance. She shouldn't have danced, but she danced and we enjoyed it. It's kind of like when you're playing a gig and people are dancing and it's so horrible that you're so glad they danced, but at the same time you're going to talk about the whole time you're tearing down. It's kind of that one of those things. Yes. Chicken from Hell should be recorded by your new trio. Yes, there's a lot of learning that Toby would have to do on that one. There's a lot of stuff, and it's hard to do. I mean, he definitely can do it, but I mean, it's a lot of there's a lot of lines in there that we'd have to work out. Yes, with the tone control and the voices, there are infinite possibilities. That's what I'm talking about. Am I right or am I right? Greg, is the P90 version going to be the same body style? Any chance it might be a semi-hollow? Excuse me. Brian, it is going to be the same body style, but it's going to be a. It's not a bolt-on neck. It's a glued-on neck. It's a set neck. Thank you. Thanks, Brain. Thanks for kicking in there. And it's going to be Gibson scale. It's going to have an ebony fingerboard, locking tuners, and it's going to come with a Bigsby that works. And I say that because every time people, can we get one without a Bigsby? Damn it! If you've played Reverend guitars, you know that their Bigsbys are set up to play. They're not an ornament. You know what I'm saying? I think I just spoke Wisconsinese. An ornament. They're not an ornament. They're not an ornament. They actually are workable, and you can do all kinds of savagery. What is the neck shape? Asks Mac. On the new one, it's going to be like this as well. I played acoustic earlier on, Miha. Sorry. I usually start off with acoustic and then end on electric. Although I think I did it the other way around last time. Yes, the Reverends have that secret spring. You are correct, Spider. There's a Reeves Gabrels, great guitar player, played with everyone and their brother from Bowie to currently plays in The Cure and has played with a lot of different folks. And he would do a modification where he would take the spring from, actually it's a bike spring, and he'd put it in the Bigsby, which gives you the ability to like warbles and lots more flexibility with the tremolo arm of a Bigsby. So when he started working with Reverend, they started doing that to his guitars, and they said, "Do you mind if we do this to all of our Bigsbys?" And they said, "I don't." He said, "I don't care." So that's why the Bigsbys from Reverend are so juicy and succulent. Can you dig it? Thank you very much, Jason. I appreciate that. When the chickens pick, how do you know the gristle is in tune? Well, sometimes, Rod, you just got to let your freak flag fly and hope for the best. You got to let your freak flag fly and hope for the best and hope for the best and hope for the hope for the hope for the best. You know, it's that time of the night where we start opening up for some... Actually, let's do one more and then we'll open it up for some questions. I'm going to switch guitars. We've played these Fluence, these pickups, which come stock in this guitar, I'll call the Fluence Gristle Tone pickups for Telecaster, which you can buy from Fishman and install them into your instrument of choice, or you can get the Gristle Master guitar, which has them already in. I also really like quite a bit the Fluence single width pickups for Stratocaster, and they have 2 voices as well. They sound magnifico. I probably have to tune this guitar because it's been sitting. Who wants to bet it's gone a little sharp? Oh, I stand corrected. It is in tune, with the exception of Mr. G-String, who's decided to take a little trip south. Just a hair ski. Went in the backyard. I like that, Spider. You want a Bigsby that works? Buy a Reverend. Kapow! Kapow! Your Schecter digs the gristle tones. That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. That was fun. Yesterday we did a little. Hear my trainer coming. How about? Oh, you know what we could do? That's a good one. I'm gonna travel at the speed. Oh man, got a lot of love to give from the mirrors in my hand. Got a message of love, babe. Don't you run away. Look at your heart, baby. I'm gonna face the truth today. Well, I am what I am, thank God. Some people just don't understand. Find yourself first, and then you're two. Find yourself first, don't you be no fool. Can you dig it? How about that Dylan back there on those drums, ladies and gentlemen? You know, it's kind of there's a great little video on the YouTube from about 10 years ago, actually. That's about right, yeah? Just about 10 years ago, Dylan. First time you ever sat in with the band at a big gig was at this local, I think Tosa Fest, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I was 15 years old.
He was 15 years old, came up on stage, and he was taking drum lessons at the time from the drummer, Del Bennett. Del Bennett, all up in it. And I said, do you mind if Dylan sits in for a song? I said, oh, that'd be great. So he comes up and I said, Dylan, what song do you want to do? He goes, let's do one of those Hendrix tunes. How about that Message to Love song? I said, really? So without any rehearsal, we played that song. So you can actually see that on the inner Google. And yeah, it's good, clean fun. But obviously, this thing sounds great. Am I right? Sounds great. I got you. When did I first hear Jimmy? I can't even remember. It was when I was very, very small because I roomed with my older brother. So as far as back as my memory serves, I remember taking naps as a child and listening to Axis Bold as Love. So that's as far back as it gets. You know what I'm saying? And they'd say, you need to take a nap. I go, put on that record. And they'd put it on. So that Strat is your 56. No, this Strat is a 57 custom shop Strat. A Wildwood 10. So it's got a 10-inch radius, 6105 frets. Is the Denver SRV book show still on? No, it is not, unfortunately. It got canceled until a later time when the pestilence has passed. When the pestilence is past, we shall return. Pestilence is past. When the pestilence is past. That's hard to say. When the pestilence has passed, we shall return. I need a hat like yours. Well, you can go to my website, gregkoch.com, GREGKOCH.com. And in the shop, you will find Gristle beanies in a variety of different colors. And I wear a bunch of different ones, but they're all made by the same gal, Denise Porter, down in Georgia. And I buy them from her wholesale and sell them on my website. So if you want to check them out, you can do so. Yeah, they're Jocko hats, Joe Zawinul hats, exactly. Locking tuners on your signature guitar. That is correct, Jay. There are indeed locking tuners. Because I like to lock it in. I like to lock it in. Does it fit extra fat? You know what? It's one size fits all. So, but they all are a slightly different. So you never know. It's kind of like Forrest Gump. Gristle beanies are like a box of chocolates. One size fits all. What? Beanie is too hot for Texas right now. No, Spy, you wear it. Let your freak flag fly. It gets the cranial juices coagulating, and really does a number on your scalp, which seeps in, kind of goes back into your third eye, and then fills you with extra perception. I'm going to go with so that you can see the creatures that are here from other dimensions. Like Scooby-Doo, Fred, Velma, the gang. What? They're comfy and festive. Words of wisdom, my friend. Words of wisdom. Played Tosa Fest some years back. Love the trains. Isn't that right, Larry? You said that's why every time I can't tell you how many times as soon as I see the train coming, I go. I play that. People go wild when I play that one at Tosa's Fest. Today's first reference of the third eye. Correct. You knew it was coming. Am I right? You knew it was coming. I'll be wearing it next week. Thank you. Well, thank you. I'm wrong, says Bill Langotz. He said, no, you're wrong. You're wrong. Oh, you saw Hendrix at the Milwaukee Auditorium, May 1st, 1970. All seats $5. Oh, that must have been majestic. There's some cool stuff from that tour. Jimmy was either on or not on, but Mitch was having a hard time that last tour. Good Lord, there's some stuff with Mitch. It's like, dude, pocket much? What's going on? I don't know what he was on. I don't want to be a judger, but I am going to judge because I've listened to a lot of those bootlegs, and he was not the snap crack-a-lacka that he was earlier on. It was just, yeah. But there's some good stuff. His versions of "Hear My Train a Comin'" on that tour were awesome, and then there's versions of that. Oh, that's a good tune. Of course, my guitar is completely out of tune. But you know, what are you going to do? I was wiggling on the whammy bar. I was wiggling on the whammy bar, and it went a little out of tune. Wiggling on that whammy bar, and it went a little out of tune. Song called Wiggling on the Whammy Bar. Sounds like a personal problem. Questions out there. Have you done any instructional videos on Jimmy? You know, I never have. And yeah, just never have. It's just never happened. I did a lot of stuff for Hal Leonard. I still do stuff for Hal Leonard, but mostly on my own stuff. But back in the day, I would do, like I did the Stevie Ray Vaughan ones and Skinner and blues stuff. And I've always been like, let me do the Hendrix ones. Are you kidding me? Come on. But there was politics involved, so I never got to do them. So whatever. I did cover Jimmy, though, I did some Jimmy stuff on my Brave New Blues book video. So I approached Jimmy's style of playing blues without actually getting into copyright trouble. Andy Alador has done a bunch, and they're great. He does a great job. Andy Alador. Andy Alador. He's a mighty savage beast who can soar. Caw-caw! Andy Alador. I just turned him into a doggone bird of prey. That's what friends do for each other. They turn each other into mythical beasts. Friend you can count on. What? Does Hal Leonard play guitar? That's an interesting story, Jay. Hal and Leonard were the first names of two brothers back in the day. They started this publishing company years and years and years ago. And back then, publishing was a very disreputable business. So they decided to use their first names. So it was Hal Leonard, but when the current company got a hold, they just kept it, and then they added on to it. It's nowhere near the same company it was back in the day with those two first individuals. Now it's the huge music publisher on the planet, as far as print especially. So that's kind of a funny story. Hal and Leonard are the first names of the original starters of that publishing company, which is funny. Can you dig it? Open the pay doors. Yeah, get it. Well, Hendrix's playing was always, very fluid. You never knew what was going to go on, but technically just did so much cool stuff. And to this day, I still am finding stuff. Lately, it depends on YouTube. There will be various different periods of time where whoever's the Hendrix police, that makes sure that there's no copywritten material going up on YouTube. Sometimes they run a little lax, and stuff ends up getting on there for a little bit longer. You can check it out, and there are some glorious things. There's some glorious things to behold. There was a particularly good night in Austria in early 1969 when the Experience played in Austria, in Vienna. And Hendrix was electrifying on that particular evening. Well, there's all kinds of cool stuff. There's a little demos of him and Taj Mahal playing, but he starts playing kind of a 44, like doom, 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 doom. And he does this and his time, and it's just so groovy. It's just him playing, and it's fantastic. That's all I'm going to say. How do you like SVL and Anderson Telecasters versus Fenders? It's just different different vibes for people. You know, I personally, you know, if you want the ultimate Fender, you buy a Fender. If you want things that are tweaked on the original thing that Fender really can't do because of the legacy is too much for them to. That's why I like the Reverend stuff so much, because they're not tied down to draconian dogma of what they can and cannot do. It's an open template, so they can kind of take all the cool things that you've wanted done to these instruments and do it. Now, Fender has done a lot, but there's still a lot of stuff that they won't do. That's why there's all these boutique manufacturers that tweak these versions of the guitar. So if you like tweaked versions that are doing things that Fender isn't quite doing, then all these other brands make cool stuff. It's just a matter of personal preference at that point in time. Can you dig it? Do you own any G&Ls? I don't, but I do like those guitars. I've always liked them. For whatever reason, I've just never had one. I was tempted to get one of those when the Helicaster guys all had their own G&L. There was some really cool guitars that were looking, but I just never got around to it. I was a youngster back then and did not have all that much money to be buying extra guitars. That was back in the day where you had your main guitar and maybe a spare and then an acoustic. How was your guitar collection? That's what you used to gig. Well, I got my main guitar and my spare, and then I got an acoustic just in case. And that's the way she rolls. What was the name of the last tune you both were playing? That was Message to Love by Jim Hendrix, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was the last tune we played. Yeah, from the Band of Gypsies record. You should own a GNL. All right, Tom. We'll see what happens. We'll see what shakes. I did buy a Phase 95 pedal today. Name that song, Stones fans. Can you play Picked On? I don't even know if I can play that anymore. Right? Yes, it does. Right? Yes. Oh, yeah. I think old Paul Barrere used one of these back in the day as well. For... face, 95 for the win, ladies and gentlemen. All that you dream. Ooh, Driving South. I haven't played that one in a... Jimmy, the master. Model of Stratocaster, asked Carlo. This is a Wildwood 10 Fender Custom Shop 57 Strat, installed with Fishman Fluence single width pickups. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Oh, you know what? I got a girl named Bonnie Maroney. She's as skinny as a stick of macaroni. Little Johnny Winter there. Right? Can I play any melody my mind imagines? Not really. I figure it out, though. Sometimes it happens. Tom Principato does a great version of Driving South. I'm sure he does. He's a bad man. Tom's a good dude. You know what I mean? He's a bad man. As a musician, he's bad to the bone. But he's a good man. This is an interesting question that's just come in, ladies and gentlemen. What's the best flavor for potato chips? Now, this is a question that I've been waiting for, okay? I don't usually partake in potato chips all that often, but during quarantine, I've fallen victim to a variety of sweet and savory objects. And I like the Kringle cut sea salt and cracked pepper combination. This salt and cracked pepper. If you get just the sea salt ones, nah. But the cracked pepper, just like that. Little TH sound at the end there. Sour cream and onion is good. It kind of grosses me out, though. I do like barbecue for chips, but I'm telling you what, next time you're in the old grocery store and you see those Kringle cuts, is that what they're called? Kringle cuts? Crinkle cut? Who's in the kitchen? Anyone in the kitchen? They've all ditched me. They've run to the hills. They're upstairs. Kettle cooked. Thank you, Pat. You know, what would I do without Patrick? He's coming to my rescue all the doggone time. My brain farts. He's in there like, hey, brosif, it's kettle cooked. You are correct. Kettle cooked, salt, and cracked pepper chips. Tattoo lady, pretty man. Got to do some of those tunes from that Rory Gallagher live Irish tour. There's some cool stuff on there. By God, we'll work up one of those tunes next time. I do like Tattooed Lady. That's a great song. That just rocks. Can you dig it? Greg, you remind me of Bill Hicks, and you seem to do everything for the kids. It's always for the kids. Am I right or am I right? Or am I right? Woo! Well, listen, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in. It is it's 5:20. I've gone long today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out, listening to the jams, conversing. It's always fun for me. I hope you guys are having a good time. Tell your friends. Tell your friends to tune in. Thank you, Fishman, for letting me take over and fly the flag of rock and roll. Have a good weekend, everybody. We'll see you next Monday at 4 p.m. Central Time. We'll be here. And for those who are interested in my interview segments I've been doing, I did the Lukather one. I think they're gradually releasing more of that. I think it's be a 5-installment version. But all of those video-wise are on the Wildwood Guitars YouTube page. And they're actually going to be, the audio is going to be on a Fishman-sponsored podcast that will be starting probably in July. So there's been a lot of interviews, though, so far. There's going to be even more. So far we've done David Grissom and the Lukather one, and I did Deke Dickerson, Andy Timmons, Josh Smith. I know I'm forgetting. Rick Vito. Fantastic. So there's more coming. So Johnny A next week. I got more people lined up. So there you have it. We'll see you cats on the flippity and the doggone floppity.